Oh my lord, the BBC are in so much trouble. Oh my lord, are they in trouble? Look, for the last few years, we have been screaming about the BBC's lack of journalistic integrity. There have been reports upon reports and so much proof. Like, they had this documentary that they did, and it was actually narrated by a son of a Hamas terrorist. And there's just so many issues with that place. But now, this is just so unbelievably damning. And you know why it's damning? Well, it's because it's actually nothing to do with Israel, and it's nothing to do with the Jews, and it's nothing to do with the Gaza war, which at this point has gotten very repetitive and exhausting to hear. This is to do with just pure proof that they doctor material to move forward their political agenda. And this time, it's Trump. They don't like Trump. They want to create an image of Trump being a certain person, and they have doctored footage so badly, but the proof is now going viral. It's not for nothing that Boris Johnson, in his interview a few days ago, stated that the BBC holds a lot of responsibility for anti-Semitism and definitely for the immigration crisis due to their lack of fair reporting, because BBC is really the number one news source in England. It's the place where most UK citizens go to hear about what's going on, and they have successfully manipulated so many of the UK citizens into believing that immigration's okay, and into fear-mongering, into anti-Semitism, etc. But here is the actual proof. We finally have like this concrete evidence of them intentionally trying to doctor stuff to push forward their own biases. Let's watch this for a second, guys. I was actually a little bit flabbergasted, and that doesn't happen often.
They played the following clip.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell.
But Trump didn't, in fact, say this at all. The BBC spliced together two clips that took place 54 minutes apart. So let's go through it again.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
Now, see there, between Capitol and, that's a cut. Here's what Trump actually said.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
It's different. It wasn't until nearly an hour later that he then said the second part of the BBC's version.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we fight. We fight like hell.
Yeah, guys. That's what we call cutting things out of context and indoctrinating for a certain agenda, right? I mean, if you're going to try and pretend that Trump is really pro fighting, etc., you've just done that. Instead of him saying, let's go, we're going to go down and we're going to cheer on, which shows his real agenda behind whatever happened. And we're not getting into the details of what happened there because it was just so crazy in and of itself. But if you want to present to the public evidence of the fact that Trump is somebody who really incites to violence, and you have him saying, let's all march down and actually support our Congress people, that doesn't sound very good, does it? It doesn't really align with that agenda. So why not just splice up the clips? Why don't you just put them together and make everybody who watches this think, oh my God, for sure he incited towards violence, right? That would make so much sense. And this is the exact tactic that the media uses time and time and time again to confirm in your mind the lies that they are presenting to be just kind of obvious. If you've seen a clip of Trump saying, let's go down to the Capitol and fight like hell, then when you see an article that says to you, oh yeah, Trump incited to violence, you're like, yeah, that actually resonates. But if you've seen a video of him saying, let's go down to the Capitol and cheer on the congresswomen and men, which is a wonderful thing to say, when somebody says to you, oh yeah, he incited to violence, you're like, that's not what I heard. So how do you solve that? Well, you just change what people hear. You just change it up. And the BBC are in trouble for this. Good. They should be, because this is not the only piece of information that they have biased and doctored and changed. Have you seen the reports, the crazy reports about the incongruent and unfair reporting of the Israel versus Gaza war? We're not even going to talk about naming of the Hamas numbers and listing them as if they are like credible sources, right? The Hamas Medical Bureau Office, whatever, has reported that 100,000 people were murdered in 12 seconds by one Israeli woman, you know, that kind of thing that they keep on doing. This is the stuff that people read and read and read and indoctrinate in the back of their minds. And most people just don't notice it. Most people wouldn't notice an edit on a clip that kind of, in some way, confirms in your bias that Trump is a violent man. This is how they manipulate us, by quickly and quietly dripping pieces that you're just going to see, and that's going to make you believe something which isn't actually true. It's an unbelievable tactic. It's a very sophisticated tactic, and it demands of the viewer of any content to be super alert and aware, and to ask ourselves, wait, is there a manipulation tactic going on behind the things that I am seeing? It's a big part of why I try not to edit any of my videos. You may have noticed I do this in one take. I think that even if I make a mistake, or I embarrass myself, or I say something that's not exactly right, you know that I'm actually just saying what I think. And I think that's super important, and that builds trust between me and you. Because you know that Meira is just as Meira comes. She's not wearing makeup, really. She's not pretending to be somebody different, and she's not over-editing her videos. It's not to say that I never will. Probably the day will come, hopefully, or we can hire a team and we'll edit and make it more interesting. But I think a big part of building trust and connecting with an audience is them realizing that the information is credible. If you have a news source that provides to you even once something that is so non-credible, like this thing with the BBC, then at the end of the day, you have to realize that almost every piece of information that they are providing to you is probably doctored. And when you look at the UK and you look at what's going on there, you have to remember that it is the media players that have been so instrumental in allowing for the craziness that's going on. I mean, if you want to create an anti-Trump bias in a country, all you have to do is repeat this kind of stunt a few times, and most people come to believe that Trump really is a very violent man. And again, maybe there is truth to Trump being violent or not, but if there is, then let's present the actual facts. Let's not go out of our way to doctor information, to manipulate you into thinking in your subconscious that you've seen something that isn't actually true. This is how anti-Semitism grows. This is how support for immigration grows. This is how all of these things are slowly implemented, and the media holds full responsibility. The BBC needs to be held so accountable for this. This is shocking, but it is also important. Important for us to see the evidence firsthand of how the BBC has no shame and thinks they can get away with anything. But it is us, the people, who can call them out. Thank you for your attention to this matter.